Hi everyone, and warm welcome to one and all. And this is my third session regarding abstract window toolkit and some example programs. Sharing my screen. And my name is Dinesh Babu, and I am from Department of Computer Science and Engineering from Chebdol Engineering College. And as all we know that we have already discussed, we have completed 2 sessions. The first session, we have discussed the things regarding the introduction of abstract window toolkit and swings. We have went through all the introduction of AWT and swings. And in the second session, we saw a simple program which was a simple program which contains some labels, text fields, password fields, and buttons. All these things are developed by using a AWT package. And in that program also we already discussed in the first class that there are 5 types of layouts: flow layout, card layout, grid bag layout, and border layout. Among all those 5 types of layout, we have covered flow layout in the previous class. And in this class, we are going to work on one more layout. For example, let us work out on grid layout. And by using grid layout, in this today's program, we are going to develop some more AWT components. Yeah, before going to the next program, let us see what we have discussed in the previous class. So in the previous class, we have created a sample Gmail login page. So here, I want to explain this program one more time very briefly. So here we are working with AWT. That's why we have imported AWT package, and then we have written one class name with P1, and then we have written one Java programming language main method that is public static void main string AIGS. And inside that one, we already discussed in the previous class that in order to display something on the output screen, when we are dealing with the normal programs, we go for system.out.println. But when we are dealing with this abstract window toolkit, in order to display something on the output screen, we have to create object for label. So here I have created 3 labels, one with the name Gmail, second with the name username, and third with the name password. And then we have to enter some data. For example, while we are trying to log in into a Gmail, we have to enter our Gmail ID and then password. So I have created 2 fields. Both here I have taken both these fields as text fields, and then I have created 2 buttons. One is the login button and clear button. So all the things what I have created so far are called the components. So we cannot display components individually on the output screen. So in order to display these components, we need to have a container. So here in AWT, a frame is a container, applet is a container, panel is a container, and window is a container. So these containers will carry some components. So in order to keep all the above components, I am creating one container which was called as frame space f equal to new frame. So for that frame, for any container, not only for frame, for any container other than applet, we have to set the size, set visibility, and set layout. So set size in the sense the size of the container, that is we have to provide height and width as 2 parameters for the set size method. And by default, the things on the container are invisible. In order to make all the components visible on a container, we have to use the method set visible, and we have to pass the true value. And then layout. So we already discussed in the first class that layout will deals with the arrangement of components on a container. So if we don't write this particular statement, only the last component which was added to the container will be displayed and will be occupied the entire container. So in order to set all the components at different places on a container, we need to go for layout. So in AWT, the layout of any container can be set by using the set layout method. So here we have in AWT, we have 5 layouts: flow, grid bag, card layout, and border layout. In this program, I am going to take one flow layout. So I have taken new flow layout. After doing all these things, we need to add each and every component to the container. So here F is a container, L1, L2, L3, T1, T2, B1, B2 are the components. So here I am adding all the components to that particular container in an order on which we want on the output screen. So finally, the output of this particular program will be displayed like this. So now if we already discussed in the previous, if we change the size of the output window horizontally or vertically, those things will be getting adjusted automatically because we are using flow layout. When we use flow layout, these things will get adjusted automatically. Now let us see what happens if our program do not contain set layout method. For example, I am skipping this method. I have written this method in the comment section. So that set layout will not be considered for compilation and running of the program. Now I compile the program, so there are no errors, and I run the program. So when I run the program, if you clearly observe, clearly observe, we have only one button, and the name of the button is clear. Clear. Why it is displaying clear in the sense? Clear is the last button. Here you can see f.add of b2. B2 means it is a clear button. So B2 button is added to the frame as a last statement of the program. So this program, in the output of this program, we have label 1, label 2, label 3, text field 1, text field 2, and button 1, button 2. All the things are included in the output screen. But we cannot be able to see all these things because we have not used the set layout method. Only the thing which was added at the last will occupy entire screen. It will be displayed. That is the thing. Okay. So now let us move to the next program. In the next program, let us use some other different layout. That is in this program we have already used the flow layout. So in the next program, let us use grid layout. Let us use grid layout, and in the grid layout, let us create some drop-down list. So let us write the program. Go to the file and take new option. Here I am using the edit plus software. There are some benefits of using this edit plus software where the keywords are displayed in blue color, class names are displayed in red color, and some method names are displayed in black, and variable names are also displayed in black color. So you can easily identify which one is the class, which one is a keyword, or which one is a name of a method, or which one is a which one is the name of a method, or which one is the name of a class. So here in this program, here also we are dealing with developing of AWT components. So we have to import AWT package in our program. So import space java.awt.start. So after importing this particular thing, define one class with the name. Here I am using my class name as P2. Okay. After writing a class, define the main method of Java public static void main string args, and inside that main method, let us create the things what we want. So here I want to create a drop-down list. So in this drop-down list, I want to maintain date of birth. So date of birth can be while selecting the date of birth, if you click on a button, it has to display the numbers from 1 to 31, which shows date. And then if you click on the next button, it has to display the values January to December, which shows the month. And if you click on the third button, let us assume we cannot add many. We can add many years, but it will be a time-based process. If we know the process, we can add any number of years. So let us add some years from 1990 to 2010, right? So for this, I want one container. For this, I want one container. Frame space f equal to new frame. So I have created one container. So as already discussed in the previous example program, so if we are dealing with container, each and every container, we have to call 3 methods. Those 3 methods are set size, set visibility, and set layout. So now set the size of the frame. Example, let us assume we want a 400 width and 400 height frame, height output frame. So I have used set size of 400, 400, and then set visible pass true value. In order to make all the components on a container to be visible to the user, we need to call this method set visible method, and then set layout. As we discussed that, let us use some grid layout. So we have to call new grid layout. Here I'm considering I'm going to divide the entire screen into 9 rectangular grids. So I have passed 3, 3. So the entire output frame will be divided into 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay. Now let us create the components. So here I want to create 3 drop-down lists, one for the date, one for the month, and one for the year. Along with these 3 drop-down lists, I want to display a name called as date of birth. So for this one, for displaying date of birth, I need to have a label. And for displaying these 3 drop-down lists, I think there are some mistakes. We need to use set layout and then use one more parenthesis. So now we want to create some choice boxes, where these choice boxes can also be called as a drop-down list. So in order to create a choice box, create an object for choice class, new choice, create an object for choice class. So we need to have 3 choice boxes here, one for the date, one for the month, and one for the year. So create 2 more choice boxes. C2, and then create one more choice box C3 equal to new choice. Now I want to display date of birth. I want to display date of birth. So in order to display something on the output screen in AWT, we have to use label. So create an object for label class. For example, label space L1 equal to new label of I want to display as date of birth. Date of birth. So these are the things what I want to create. Now, if we click on the first choice box, it has to display the numbers from 1 to 31, which says that they are the, for example, January 1, 2, 3, 4. So add some data to the first choice box. So our first number should be 1. Our first number should be 1. Similarly, we have to add multiple number of things. Let us not extend this type of code. Let us conclude this code by adding some numbers from 1 to 5. Let us assume we have only 5 dates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have added 5 numbers to the choice box 1. If we want 31 numbers, we have to rewrite the statement as C1 dot head of 6, C1 dot head of 7, C1 dot head of 8. Similarly, we have to go up to 31. So now we have to add some data to the next choice box. Example, in the choice box 2, first I want to display January. So I have mentioned January, and then I want to display February. So I have used February. Similarly, do this for remaining 3 or 4 or 5 months. For example, March, and then April, and then May. And for C3 also we need to add some data. For example, for C3 I want to display the values from 1990 to 1995. So our first value is 1990. Okay, my first value is 1990, and then my second value is 1991. Third value is 1992. Sorry, it is not 1990. 1991. 1992, and then 1993, and then 1994. And if you want to add one more year, just add 1995. So after writing all these data to the different choice boxes, let us add these choice boxes and label to our container. So our container name is f dot add of. First I want to add this choice label, that is L1, and then I want to add C1, which represents the date, and then I want to add C2, which represents the month, and then I want to add C3, which represents the year. So with this, let us close the main method and close the class. Now save the class by using our class name is some p2. So save the class by using p2.java. After saving the class, compile the class. If you are using edit plus 3, we have to set the tools, set the executing and running tools. And if you are working with command prompt, just use the command java c space program name.java in order to compile any Java program. So I have compiled this Java program, so there are no errors. Now run the program. If you run the program, if you observe the output of this particular program, there is one thing called as date of birth. It is called as label. It will do nothing. It only displays some information on the output screen. But there are something called there are some values called as 1 Jan 1990. So just make a click on this one. It will display the values from 1 to 5 because see the checkbox one. See the choice box one. This choice box one has the information from 1 to 5, and we have added this choice box one to the frame. That is why it is displaying the values from 1 to 5. And then if you click on the next one, it will display the values from January to May, because we added only 5 values to the next choice box. And if we click on the next one, it will display the values from 1990 to 1995, because we have added those values to choice box 3. So keep one thing in mind. Here we are using a grid layout. And in the grid layout also, we are trying to divide the screen into 3,3. So 3,3 in the sense total 3 rows and 3 columns. So the entire screen will be divided into 3 rows and 3 columns. So here we have added only 4 components. That is why it is automatically adjusted to 4 components only. It will be done in the latest versions. If you are using the old version of Java, it will never be adjusted. So in this program, we have added only 4 components, 1 label and 3 choice boxes. That is why this particular output screen is automatically adjusted to 4 grids. So in the first grid, if you observe our program, in the first one, we have added L1. So that is why this is the L1. Okay, I will show you by highlighting something. Right. So this is L1. This is the grid number 1, which is displaying the components related to L1. L1 means it is a label. It is a label which displays date of birth. And after adding L1, we have added f dot add of C1. C1 means choice box 1. So this particular grid is displaying C1. So C1 is a choice box which is displaying the date of a month. And then it is the third grid. This is the third grid, and it is displaying the values of the choice box 2. So the choice box 2 displays the values of a month, and this one is the fourth grid, which is displaying the values of an year. So this is how we can use this particular grid layout in order to divide the entire screen into multiple number of grids. And at the same time, this is how we can generate drop down list. We can call this item as a drop down list, or else we can call this item as a choice boxes, where the entire options are clubbed into a single button. And if we make a click on that button, the entire options will be displayed. We generally see this type of things while we are filling applications for any, for example, while we are applying for higher education, or while we are applying something, while we are putting some applications. We observe generally they will ask for date of birth, and no, nothing will be displayed. And if you make a click on the first button, it will display the date and then month and then year. Similarly, for this type of applications, we are going to use this type of choice boxes. The other name for this choice boxes is drop-down list. And along with this program, we have so far covered flow layout and grid layout. And I'm not going to cover the programs regarding grid bag layout and card layout, because the grid bag layout is similar to this grid layout. But in grid bag layout, we can adjust the size of the components. You can just try at our home. And if you have any doubts regarding the grid bag layout, you can ask me. And coming to the one more layout, we have total 5 layouts. We have covered up to 2 or 3 layouts only. We have one more layout called as border layout. We already studied that in border layout, the entire computer screen is divided into 5 parts: north, south, east, west. So top of the screen is north, and right side of the screen is east, and left side of the screen is west, and bottom of the screen is, and remaining part of the screen is called as center. So let us write one program. By using that border layout. And in that program also, let us develop one more abstract window toolkit component. That is, let us develop some checkboxes. We all know the usage of checkboxes. For example, we have one question. Some questions may have only one answer. If I ask you about which year are you studying, you may be in a first year, or you may be in a second year, or you may be in a third year, or you may be in a fourth year. You have to answer. For that particular question, you have only one answer. You may be in a second year, or you may be in a third year. You cannot be in second and third year at the same time. For that type of questions, we need to develop some AWT components which will take only one answer among all the options. Those things are called as radio buttons. But when we ask how many languages do you know, when I ask this particular question, one guy may know only Telugu, some people may know Telugu and Hindi, some people may know Telugu, Hindi and English. So for these type of questions, user may give more than two answers depending upon his known languages. So for this type of questions, we have to provide some abstract window toolkit components. These abstract toolkit components are called as checkboxes. Okay, so if a question is having only one answer, then we have to develop radio buttons. And if a question is having 2 or more than 2 options, we have to develop checkboxes. So in this program, let us look at how to develop checkboxes. So in AWT, while we are trying to develop a frame, we have created an object for frame class. While we are trying to develop a choice box, we have created an object for choice. If we want to display some labels, we create an object for labels. Similarly, if we want to display checkboxes, we have to create an object for checkboxes. That's it. So let us write this program by using border layout. For this, let us close the previous program and output of the previous program, and let us quickly move on to the next program, that is creating checkboxes by using border layout. Right. So here also we are dealing with AWT. So import space java.awt.start, and define a class. For example, my class name is P3, and inside the class, write the main method public static void main string args, and inside that main method, one second, and inside that main method, de- uh, define the things what we want to display on the output screen. For example, on the output screen, I want a frame. So frame space f equal to new frame. Okay, as we studied in the previous programs also, whenever we define a container, we have to maintain size, visibility, and layout. So first, set the size by using set size method. Here also I'm going to take only 400 width and 400 height, and then set visible, pass the value, and after that one set layout. As we discussed in the previous, as we discussed in before, we want to use some border layout. So in this program, I'm going to use border layout, where the components, only 5 components can be accommodated. If we add the 6th component, the old component will be overlapped. Okay, so after doing all these things, here I want to create some checkboxes. For example, I have a question, label space L1 equal to new label. So here I am going to ask, languages known. For this, user may enter one option, user may enter 2 options, or user may enter 3 options depending upon his known languages. So for those things, I am creating checkboxes. For example, checkbox space C1 equal to new checkbox, and my first language is, for example, Telugu. Right? Similarly, I want to create a few more languages names. One second. And then my second option is, so Telugu, and then Tamil, Hindi, and English. If you want to add some more languages, use some more languages, but use different object names. For example, C1, C2, C3, C4. Here I have used only 5 things: L1, C1, C2, C3, C4, because we are dealing with border layout. Keep that in mind. In border layout, we can perfectly accommodate up to 5 components. So 5 components. So I have used only 5 components, 1 label, and 4 checkboxes. Now here, up to now we have seen the 2 programs. In those 2 programs, we directly added the elements, because those elements will be automatically arranged in the flow layout. Those elements will be automatically occupies the first left position, and then next position, and then next position, depending upon the size in grid layout. Okay, so but here, when we are dealing with border layout, while adding the components, we have to be very careful. For example, I want to add the languages known label at north of the screen. North of the screen means top of the screen. So we have to be careful. We have to use F. So we are trying to add components to a frame. So F dot add of. So I want to add L1. So I want to add this L1 at border layout dot north. So I want to add this L1 at north. So I have mentioned F dot add. So I am adding something to the frame, and what I am adding is L1. I am adding L1. L1 means languages known label. So I am adding languages known label to the frame. Where I am adding at position of north. So when we have considered new border layout, our frame will be under the border layout. So in that border layout, the output screen, that is the frame, will be divided into 3 parts: north, south, east, west, and center. So in the north, I'm trying to add languages known. Similarly, we can also add different things in, right? So, and then I want to add C1, for example, I want to add C1, and then I want to add C2, C3, C4. So I have added it in the north, and I want to add this one in the south. I want to add this one at the east, and I want to add this particular one at the west, and the next one at the center. So now compile the program, sorry, first save the program. Our program name is P3. So save the program as P3.java. Now compile the program. Once again, label, spelling of label. Label. So now compile the program and now run the program. If you observe, so here we have added, this is the entire program and the exit one is the output. We have added languages known label. We have added languages known label at the north. So this top position is north. This is north, and then, and next one, I have added C1 at south. So this is the south position. This is south position. That is C1 means Telugu checkbox. So a Telugu checkbox is added at the south. And then I have added C2 at the east. So C2 at the east. So this particular position is east. So in the east we have seen some Tamil checkbox, and then we have added Hindi, that is the C3 at west. This is west, and all this remaining part will be center. So we have added C4 at the center. C4 means English. So this English checkbox is center means don't think that center means the center of the output screen. It is the center part of the output screen where we have added one component. That component will be left aligned. Okay. So these are the things. So for example, I know Telugu and Hindi. So I can make a tick on Hindi and Telugu. And some other guy came and he's filling the application. He found the question languages. For example, he don't know Telugu. He only knows Hindi. So he can have a simple one answer for that question. And some other guy came and he know all the 4 languages. He can tick on all these 4 languages: Telugu, Hindi, English, and Tamil. And one more thing. For example, we all are in AP, and Telugu is well known to all the people. By default, I want to make Telugu as an answer for all the applicants from AP. So simply, what I can do is simply, if I pass, for example, Telugu, true. If I pass this particular value, now observe the output of this particular program. So if you observe the output of this particular program, see in this particular program, Telugu has came with already a X symbol. You can observe Telugu is already came with some X symbol because we have used the true value after the Telugu. That is why Telugu is already come with the check. But Tamil, Hindi, and English, we don't use any true values behind that Tamil, Hindi, and English. That's why these are empty. We may select if we know the language, and we may leave if we don't know the language. Okay, so in order to make some default answers for all the applicants, we can use this true value. So that will be used in order to check that particular checkbox. And with this, I'm closing for today. And thank you for listening my class, and thank you for your patience. And if you have any doubts regarding this video, you can post in the comment box, and I will answer as soon as possible. And meet you in the next class with some other programs in Abstract Window Toolkit. Thank you.